You go to any football game, any baseball, basketball game, and in amongst all the supreme rap stuff they play and the hits, they'll just bash Machinehead because it's fun here. And so even when I was using it the other day, there was a discussion about the set and how old songs to use. I said, well, they know Machinehead. He goes, that's not fair. That's just that's a song in American DNA, though, in the musical DNA of everyone who loves rock music. That's not fair. So it's like a really good compliment, but yet being used against me in the argument. It was brilliant. I was like, that's like a chess move. I was like, wow, that's so deep. He moved me away with a compliment.
Hey guys, James Wilson-Taylor here for Rock Sound. Now Bush are back with a brand new studio album. It's like the eve of release roughly now. It's just kind of coming around the corner. I'm delighted to say that here to tell us all about it is the one and only Mr. Gavin Rossdale. How are you, man?
Good, thanks. Good, yeah. Excited. A couple of days. Yeah, it's so weird when they come out because you have this like period when when you're writing songs and you think about, imagine people that like the band, you think, oh man, they're gonna love this track. This record's gonna be amazing, or overly. So you see something like how you work on a new record, and then it goes through all the stages. So this is a really fun stage when you're just like, nothing to do with me anymore. Over to you guys. You know what I mean? Like it just exists in of its own merit, and here we go.
Yeah, here we go. Exactly. No, very exciting times. I mean, let's start with this new record, of course. Tell me a little bit about when that kind of writing began. I find a lot of people have had kind of a lot of ideas left over from these last few years where, for obvious reasons, touring kind of took a bit of a pause. Was that the case with you, or was this kind of new inspiration over the last year or so? When did those ideas kind of start to develop?
New inspiration, because I'm going to change my policy now, but I always used to have a policy of once we put a record in, I can get off the pressure of trying to remember a good line, coming up with this, just like, don't want to. So we brought The Kingdom out a couple of summers ago, during the pandemic, and sort of like it's like commercial form of Harry Carey, because you can tour it, but at the same time, there's also something cool about putting a record out that people can relate to, and I think it was really good for us. It connected a lot of people with us with The Kingdom, and reconnected, and then so these were like the last, I guess, but maybe taking a year to make. I always think, wish it to be, I'm always like, no, 9 months, no, 8 months and 14 days. Just like trying to minimize or trying to obscure how slow you are. You're just slow.
Nothing wrong with taking a bit of time.
It's weird because I work in it all the time, from when it begins. And I'm just sitting in there from the silence, and I'm in my studio. I have a little studio like anyone can have nowadays. And I have got fancy panels on the walls and on the ceiling, and I'm painting them red, sound panels. So it looks like Lenny Kravitz's studio. It's brilliant. And I've got this really, obviously, a powerful, amazing Apple laptop, sort of a computer thing. But I put it behind I connected with two little outputs. So I have a big screen. This guy Stephen Slate makes. It's amazing. It's like Starship control, like control. This is controlling your laptop, but it's like enlarged. So it's a love. So from that time, just making music now things are so advanced. You can, do you know what I mean? Like you can really immerse yourself in a track with no one else around. You can sound like you can be 17 people.
Yeah, just never has to stop, man. Never.
So I just go through it, and I know, like, I really apply myself because that's what you have to do. And yet, it still takes months and months and months. And you wait for someone's schedule, so I get to a certain point and start involving other people. It's just all a process.
Yeah, no, it's a fascinating one though, and it's nice to be able to actually be back, and like you say, being able to get back on the road with this as well, which is going to be very, very exciting. I know you guys have been out on the road in a minute. How much of that new material is actually in the set? It's got to be nice to finally be able to see these reactions to these new songs that you've been sitting with for a while.
Yeah, well, to be fair, we have a single out, More Than Machines, so we've been playing the life out of that, like it's throwing in the junior kid into the fray with all the other songs that have been around a lot longer. But so there's no point. It's a bit of a weird one because there's three things here. First off, I kept on thinking every time we keep on playing singles, and it felt sort of revisionist. And I was like, it was annoying me. And there was always a bit of friction when we were doing the set list. Person X of my band was always like, "No, we play the songs that are hits." And that sort of contains you. Like we never, ironically, done the greatest hits because of that. And yet, some of the shows we're doing, I was just like getting annoyed about how it was not enough of that balance of are you pushing forward and are you giving people what they want. So with this tour, it's weird because we got the chance to play those songs from the Kingdom, which we hadn't toured. So in a way, this whole year, everyone's like, "Yeah, you're back. It's great. It's a new record." Going, "Yeah, great. This is a record I played 2 years ago, or a year ago, a year and a half ago." And so the set's got sort of 4 or 5 songs that everybody knows, who knows Bush, and then 5 or 6 much more exploratory, progressive new songs, and not to sort of bore people or to send people off to go like get beers and stuff. More like between 2 songs they know that the song's so compelling and the performance so compelling that people stay. And so I think that in a weird way now we're out this tour with Breaking Benjamin and Alice in Chains. Alice was there before us, and Breaking Benjamin came after us, and both done amazing, with their songwriting and their sort of fans. Like that. So it's been really fun to like this philosophical question. Well, if a kid doesn't know us, do I have to play them a song that was a hit 10 years ago, or should I play them a song that we wrote, a month ago? Because it's going to be it's in the zeitgeist. It's in what people are feeling. It's really modern. So I just like went modern the whole way. Like, you know what? It's like I've always done everything wrong my whole career. Everything's been wrong. It started. They've got a record. They've got a break in America. Didn't start in England. We tried to address the balance. Then ended up. I've done everything wrong. Continue to make music people want to listen to. Wrong. No one, wrong. Just play the hits. Wrong. Done everything wrong. And I think that in a weird way, like Man Ray, not that I'm in his stratosphere, but the idea that it's through getting things wrong or doing things in unusual ways that yields the most interesting results for me.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think there's a lot of bands out there who would pay good money to have your mistakes as well, so don't worry about that. I think that's a pretty good run for some mistakes in there. Let's talk a little bit more about the record itself. I know it's a cliched question, but I'm genuinely fascinated by album titles. I always find it really interesting why an artist selects a certain phrase to sum up a collection of songs. The Art of Survival, I guess, on first kind of glance, you might think, yeah, that applies to the last few years. Does it? Or was this kind of a wider phrase about something else going on?
I mean, first of all, I couldn't agree more about titles, because I find them as a writer of titles, and it's like fascinating. It's the same principle as what's your first song on your record you want me to hear? What's the album title? Where are we going with this? And this is like essential, even subconscious, subliminal. It's just they're essential qualities that draw you to someone or not. Same as a cover. I believe the cover is like massive. I do it myself. I'm so superficial. Like I'll see books. I'll be in a bookstore, and the best cover, I'm going to look at it first. I can't help it. I go, wow, that's amazing. Whereas something that no one's really thought about or cared. Nah, it's not important. The words are important. Well, no, everything, every single detail is important, because if you get every detail right, that's what it is. So yeah. Anyway, so The Art of Survival. It desperately. Sums my last couple of years up, and different kind of roughness and just life stuff that's so challenging that when you come through it, you are just so grateful that you're safe. So grateful you're safe. Some stuff that I went through. That's as far as I go with it, because I don't want to impose on anyone. I think there's extraordinary times we're living in. Like, you could isolate anybody, like at the pub, sit to them and ask them stuff, and they're going to tell you a story about their life or someone around them and their stories of struggle and survival that'll blow you away. You're like, oh mate, I just thought you were like this twat that was in the fucking pub every night, and I never really knew much about you. And now I know why you're in the pub, or whatever it is. And it's incredible. We're doing these massive shows now. They're they're not Coldplay massive, God bless them, but it's sort of like their car park. It's like a sort of these lovely sheds. It's like 10,000 people in the thing and 5,000 people on the lawns. It's like these balmy nights. The incredible. We took this opportunity to basically open on this tour. I mean, I'm good friends with Jerry, and he asked me to come and do this tour like a special guest, which is a nice way of saying opener. I'm all right with it. It's good. Everyone should eat humble salad, with gluten. It's been amazing because we're getting 13,000 people come to watch. So I'd be like, well, look, we're playing early. In this current climate, imagine everyone's on tour. People don't have any money. All these, they're asking so much of people. It just seemed like a smart move to team up with them and go out. And I tell you, I've had an amazing time with them. Really, really good fun. And I sang with Alice in Chains. And Jerry's come out and played with us. Ben came out. It's just so. These things are kind of special. So when I look out in those crowds, I see that, and I know, I can feel. We all saw it. We all lived glued to people's struggles. So the art of survival popped in my head. I was trying to, sum up the best titles, and I was like, Alive, and then Chris is like, that's the Kiss title, and I was like, looked it up from 1975. Does it matter? Loads of other people had it, so I didn't do that. And whatever, it's but the art of survival sums it up because anyone that has it's just anyone in a band is going to love art. It's a concurrent medium or whatever like that. So anyway, yeah, I feel it applies to everybody, and that's why it's essential to not overlay it with my own thing. Just the fact that it's just incredible, what everyone's gone through. And so there's been like a celebration, a summer of celebration in a way. And it's been beautiful with that because,
yeah,
great thing.
Yeah, you definitely feel it at shows in particular. Everyone's incredibly grateful because, everyone went through very different experiences, but everyone went through a experience. So it's kind of a binding unity community thing now. It's really nice, especially when live music is back, I got to say. It's really, really impressive. In terms of the album itself as well, some of your collaborators on there, I had a chat with Mr. Tyler Bates, actually, about a couple of his other projects a few months back. Really fascinating dude. Really kind of interesting mix of stuff he works on. What was that experience like for you getting to collaborate with him on some of this?
Just brilliant, because what was the most incredible thing about it and was the friendship we developed. He was odd. He knows my manager, but we had to go for like 2 lunches. My manager first was like, you should work with this guy. And I was being defensive and I was like, wasn't sure. And I was just, it's like, well, okay, sure, let's do it. But then I had to go for lunch with him twice, sort of pass a test, I suppose. I did the same thing. I did lunch with Steve Albini before he'd made one. Apparently everyone lunches. The best people I've worked with lunch before they decide. So I had a couple of lunches. I just never realised the connection was exactly the same thing happened with Steve. I got the best letter from Steve about having a great lunch with me to my management. So, and bearing in mind that he's dealt with so much bullshit over the years, he can barely, he just, rises above it. Heather, his girlfriend, on the other hand, has an excellent bullshit detector. She found Gavin fascinating. And so, in turn, I'd be delighted to record the band at their convenience. So brilliant, Steve Albini. So with Tyler, and then it turns out we're just very connected. We became friends. And like, you get 2 hours with him. He's so busy. He's got like he's doing 4 movies, 3 TV shows. He's got his studio and 2 other studios in his house that are running. The beautiful setup, proper, real studios. And so I went there, and the first day, and I was like, okay, that's it. And I thought I'd be there for 12 hours. I had a little supply of hot tea, bit of water, sort of entertainment for the day, And we sat there for about an hour and a half. We were just talking, and he was He goes, he was being, slightly anxious, and he goes, "Oh, look, this guitar I got," and he turned it on, and I asked him about a pedal like that, the great equalizer, or sort of the relaxing thing, so boom, he goes, he started playing a riff, right? So he goes, I can do this, like, so I just recorded it. I was recording with my phone, just voice record, doing that. I thought it's cool. And then he goes, well, I've got a few things for you. I prepared, we prepared 3 bits of music. And I was like, they were a bit, I was like, yeah, no. I said, I really like this though. And I played in the riff, he played me. And that was the first song we wrote together. That became Ghost of the Machine. And it was really fun because I just picked something out of him, played a bit with him. And then he sent me home. I was done in 2 hours. He goes, well, let me get that together for you. Right? I goes, oh, cool. He likes to work in a specific way, like, fuck off. Okay, So I left. And he sent it to me. Then I'm at my house. And I put, take the sections, have the sections, and I made all my parts up, sang the top lines. And then I go to his house. Before I go, I just warm up. So when I arrive, I can walk straight into the vocal booth, which is in his room, So I got, he chats for a bit because he's used to working with people who made, like studio execs. So maybe he doesn't want to chat too long, But with me, it was chatty, so I'm ready, check this out. So I do it and I sing. So then we have this extraordinary way of working where he'll send me a bunch of things and whatever, I'll just pick out something. I'll respond to that. Then I go and see him for an hour and a half. It's really snappy, really fast. And so on this record, he just, he sent me a bunch of music. So, we should continue. I was like, yeah, totally, I'll do it. And he sent me a bunch of things and I was like, I don't know. And he sent me this one thing that was like super, almost atonal. It was just so heavy. I just was laughing as I heard it. I was just laughing at how abrasive it was. I was like, oh my God, there's so much abrasion in one space. I love it. That became the song Identity. And I wrote on that and then went back. And of course, it's just fun for him because he sort of sends out some music, come in with an image. And he's just great because it's just a really collaborative. We're very intuitive. And we're so busy, I think we're just super fast. We did 5 minutes with each other. So we'd hang out. I see him, I see him all the time. And I really love him. And in fact, it was interesting. He's a real conduit between me and Jerry because he's really close with Jerry. Plays in Jerry's band. So when Jerry was in Europe, when we were there, he was with Jerry at certain festivals. So we'd sit and have lunch, whatever, dinner together, hang out. So, but yeah, he's a great man.
Yeah, really, really fascinating to see as well.
And really compassionate. My favorite thing about him is what a good person is. It's not easy later in life to meet friends that you can rely on. I'm friends with loads of actors in LA. It's hilarious, but it's like leaning on a fucking tent. It's really, musicians just have a spirit. And so Tyler feels like a close friend. I'm close friends with my band, which is kind of unusual for some bands who've been around together a long time because lots of them just sort of have partitions on the stages, don't they? These stories of people that don't hate each other. They hate each other, but they don't hate what the band could do live, So it sounds so cynical, but also hilarious because it's such an effort. I've had arguments, I've had falling out with Chris and that. And I had one awkward show where I woke up off of Xanax and barked or something like that. I apologized for barking, but then you have to go through the process of one gig. There's a little bit of the, what do you call it, shadow fraud, cold, a little bit colder, not as friendly, not as inviting. My bad, I know. Because we all live together, so you have these
That's
moments.
it. You're living together for that long. It's inevitable, isn't it? But yeah, you keep it together in the end.
Yeah, we've been going since March or something.
Yeah, God. I mean, I want to mention, while we talk a little bit about reflecting and kind of looking back, I wanted to mention a couple of things from the past of Bush because something I've noticed at least is that, obviously you've got many hits in your discography and all that kind of stuff, but one that seems to keep coming back for me and I keep seeing reappear in different ways is Machinehead. And that's maybe sometimes it's cover versions. We saw people we even did one with Roxanne for the 250th issue, Sleeping with Sirens, gave that a go. And Hawthorne Heights I saw covering it. I see it pop up in Netflix films and stuff. Great song, obviously, but you've got a lot of hits from that era and beyond. Why do you think it is that one in particular seems to keep coming back around and kind of reconnecting again and again?
I think that because it's all on the one, and it's all like, everything that's happening in music is just that does that sort of bounce on the one, and so it keeps it modern, and I guess people like that. And it's like they use it a lot at sporting events. It has some weird, like, it's really high up on the list of songs used. So you can go to any football game, any baseball, basketball game, and in amongst all the big, supreme rap stuff they play, and the hits, they'll just bash Machinehead because it's like, and so even when I was using it the other day, there was a discussion about the set and how old songs to use, and I said, well, it was brilliant. It was brilliant. It was brilliant because Chris said, I said, well, they know Machinehead. He goes, that's not fair. That's just that's a song in American DNA, that in the musical DNA of everyone who loves rock music. That's not fair. So it was like a really good compliment, but yet being used against me in the argument. It was brilliant. I was like, that's like a chess move. I was like, wow, that's so deep. He moved me away with a compliment.
Yeah, again, if that's an insult, you'll absolutely take it. That's the one.
That's charm. Quentin Crisp said that charm was the ability to influence without the use of logic.
Not wise words, very wise words. I like that, and actually remarkably true. The more you think about that one as well, yeah. Very, very wise right there. Another thing I wanted to kind of look back on slightly. I don't know if you saw any of the old the Woodstock '99 documentaries, but I was hooked on those. Obviously, there's the tragic elements and the really horrible side of what it became, but also some of that footage, particularly from the first couple of days where I know you were involved, was unbelievable. Like people hitting at their peak in a lot of ways. I don't know if you have thought much about that time and that set or anything, but do you have any memories of that? I mean, you guys were on the Friday before the real madness started and all the horrible stuff, really.
It was good to see. I watched the one that I was in and just watched the first episode, and I need to continue watching it. Obviously, interviews I've done, people reference it, but it's just a bit embarrassing that how I sweetly, and I'm proud of to be that much of it. I told you to do everything wrong. I told you. So that night, I loved Hendrix so much in the Woodstock '69. That was like this, Janis Joplin, this whole world of. I never really could imagine I could ever be part of that. As a kid, loving that, I didn't even know there was a sort of a place you could go. It's called being in a big rock band where you could live a life like that. It just seemed like this other world. You know what I mean? Centuries. I was to say centuries ago. It was like 20 years ago, right? So when I went there, I felt a real responsibility that I wanted to be part of a generation or part of the musical community that kind of respected the initial, the point, the thrust of the '69 was about freedoms, the anti-war sort of camaraderie sentiment, community building sentiment, minority protecting sentiment, and I couldn't help that. And then, of course, so I did it, and I was like, I always remember, it made me so nervous to ever watch it of myself, because I know that I was like I gave this speech about trying to, being everyone, I was like, you got to think about this because it'll be forever, but it's actually hindered me watching it, my own performance, because I'd be so embarrassed when I watch it if I got it right or not. But I just loved it. It was just an incredible experience. I remember it was a weird experience because I didn't look on the stage. I was in, perverse love of not seeing the crowd before I go on. So when I go out, they have this sense of like, finally the band's on, if they like the band. And I have like, finally the audience is here. It's this great sort of moment. I like this sort of like, physics-based kinetic energy idea, But that was so massive. It was like, oh my God, it took my breath away. And then you're just playing for your life and just trying to think of the magic of what went before and trying to give everything to be as good as you can. Same as I'll play tomorrow night. Same philosophy. So there was that. So then I felt a bit, when all the trouble starts, we heard about, we were at different festivals by Sunday, we were elsewhere, and it was just horrific to hear of all of the victims. I mean, anyone who I came to see Bush, the thing is, we came out of an era, of a time that was kind of went against the, traditional rock and roll groupies and He was a sort of like sound, this was a different sound that was more sort of coming out of the alternative scene, where the alternative women, there was respect for women, there's a mutual admiration of like their abilities, that was like when Kim Gordon was the queen, I mean, she still is to many people, but you know what I mean, at that time, Kim Deal. So our aesthetic and the whole thing was not like that at all. And so my memories were more tarnished in retrospect, in hindsight, like, oof, yeah, I was involved that weekend. But I played between Korn and Limp Bizkit. How about? We had been making a record in London at the time, and I was immersed in Primrose Hill and into making the record at Mayfair Studios. Really exciting. I'd never been at my house and walked to the studio. I felt really creative in the science of things. It was all like that. And so when I went to do that, I just was stuck in a dumb bubble of my own, like thinking, yeah, this is all brilliant now. I'm going to be brilliant here, like they were brilliant in '69, and it was Limp Bizkit, and it's like metalheads and new metal kids, guys just wanted to have like the biggest mosh pits ever, and I was like, I don't know, all right, here we go.
Here we go, exactly.
Someone said to me the other day, it's amazing how you brought the audience down. I was like, well, I wasn't going to like nullify them, like completely give them the fucking, lobotomize them. Just I wanted to keep have it in the spirit of like, so none of that stuff was going on with us, and that's what I mean. I hope that people would I don't understand any of it, so it's horrific, but I'm glad it wasn't on my watch.
I'll leave you with this, man. Obviously, like we keep saying, this new album, we're kind of on the eve of release effectively now, and something I always like to ask artists when we kind of get to this stage is what they hope the fans take away when we get to Friday, it's out there, they hit play for the first time. What do you really hope they take away from that kind of first listen to this new Bush record?
As always, I just hope that people get lost in the music, which is the greatest quality music can have. It transports you, and I think that why when I wrote Heavy as the Ocean, it was a weird feeling of, oh, thank you, this defines the aesthetic and the intention, and this is the journey. It's like the boat that, like, More Than Machines is the perfect first single. It's so like ridiculous, that riff. It's almost dumb. It makes me laugh. And things are really good. I sort of laugh at first. I don't know what it is. It's funny because it really is an incredible riff. And same with the beginning of Heavy as the Ocean, and the way that it goes through. So being transported, which is why the idea that it ends, and it ends with a lilting kind of dropping you to some, mystical destination, whatever, give you a chance to listen to something else, but just drops you off gently. It's a gentle drop off with 1,000 years. And I think that when music works, is best. It just takes you somewhere. So that's what you hope. I mean, the worst thing, like I tell you, I give the opposite as well. The worst thing is just, and I do it when I listen to people's records, and I concentrate and I just figure out what they're trying to do. And sometimes things can really pass me by. The songs can pass me by. Do you know what I mean? I'm listening to someone and I'm like, I haven't left. I'm still there. We're definitely still here. And that would be the worst thing. I don't want anyone still there. I won't be like, wow, what's this? So that's what I want. And and I, in turn, I love it when I get lost in records. Mars Volta, that new record, is just really, it's really surprising, and it's not remotely abrasive. It's completely sensual, lilting, really brilliant. And I like getting taken on journeys by bands.
Yeah, taken on a journey is a good phrase for sure, and I'm sure your fans absolutely will be when this new record drops on Friday. Gavin, really, really nice to chat to you, man. Really appreciate your time on this. Congrats on the record. Enjoy the rest of the tour, and I'm sure we'll see you back here in the homeland very soon as well, all right?
I can't wait. Yes, you will. Thank you.
Absolutely. Good stuff. All right, cheers, Bye. Gavin, everybody.